My wife's upstairs watching the Celine Dion documentary right now, so if you guys hear any singing, that's what's going on. Apologies in advance. How's it going, everybody? It's your old pal Scott, and I actually wasn't going to make this video, and I posted something about it on Threads. Shout out to the photography community on Threads. Reggie B Photo. If you guys don't follow Reggie, you really should. He is a wealth of knowledge and shares it freely and openly, and it's just a great resource for new and old photographers. Yeah, go check out Reggie. But anyways, Reggie made a video about the Fujifilm X80, like what he would like to see in a successor to the Fujifilm X70. And I took my X70 with me to the Netherlands early in July. We went to Amsterdam, Den Haag, and Utrecht. And I absolutely love this camera. It's the one camera that comes with me everywhere I go where I'm bringing a camera that's not my phone. It is so small. It is absolutely incredible. I love this camera, but it's getting old, and every now and then mine doesn't turn on. So I worry that one day it's going to stop working. If Fujifilm made an updated version of this camera, I would buy it in a heartbeat. If it was similarly priced to the X106, just slightly less, because obviously it's going to be spec'd down a little bit from that. I think that they would sell a ton of them if they had them available to purchase. That's a whole other video. I think this camera is what everybody wants the X100 to be, because you always see comparison videos or whatever between the X100 series and the Ricoh GR series. And it's not really a fair comparison because the Ricoh GR is so much smaller. The X100 series, yeah, it's small, but it's not a compact camera. It's not going to fit into a pocket. It's not as small as you think it is. Whereas the X70 is probably smaller than you think it's going to be. Fujifilm did the XF10 a few years ago, a camera that I absolutely hated. Everybody tells me it got better with newer firmware, but one of the things I hated about that camera was the fixed screen on the back. I want an articulating screen if they're going to be replacing the X70 at some point. So Reggie replied to my post on Threads saying that I wanted to make this video, but I felt like it had been done to death, saying that, yeah, he had made a video like that, but everybody's voice is a little bit different and everybody's opinions are a little bit different. And honestly, maybe if Fujifilm sees enough people talking about it, maybe they'll do it. I don't know. So here's what I would like to see in a Fujifilm X80, or whatever they're going to call the replacement to the X70. Form factor. I want it to stay exactly the same. I want it to be the same size. I want it to be the same weight. I want it to have the same lens. It doesn't need to have an f2 lens. f2.8 is totally fine. Like Reggie said, if they could fit an f2 lens and keep this footprint the same, sure, I'm not going to say no, but I don't think that that's possible with it being a fixed lens camera, so f2.8 is totally fine. Articulating screen. Yes, this is a must. This is the perfect type of articulating screen for this type of camera. It can be front-facing, flipping upwards, but the way I shoot this camera 99% of the time is with this screen at 90 degrees, and I shoot it with my thumb on the shutter button and my index finger on the aperture ring, and I shoot it like a waist level finder. And that's the best way to shoot this camera because obviously there's no optical viewfinder. Now, this camera I don't think should have a viewfinder of any kind. I think the magic of this camera is that waist level point of view. It may seem trivial to go, 2 feet down from your eye to your waist, or however tall you are, but it makes a difference, and it makes this thing a lot more stealth. people don't even notice it. It's so small, and when you're shooting from your waist looking down and you're not making eye contact with people, you can get some really amazing candid shots, just in situations where maybe you wouldn't feel comfortable taking that shot if you had a camera like this up to your eye. I would love to see the 26 megapixel X-Trans sensor, whatever the current version of that is, in this camera. It does not need to be the 40 megapixel sensor. 26 is just fine. Pair that with the latest processor, and I think that low light performance would improve dramatically from what we've got in here, which is essentially XT1 internals, so the 16 megapixel sensor and that original processor from the XT1. So as far as video specs go, I would love to see this thing shoot 4K. It doesn't need to shoot super high bitrate 4K. 8-bit's fine. Like, honestly, if you can cram 10-bit into this thing, fine. It doesn't need to be. It's you're not going to be making movies with this, but if you need to shoot some good looking video in a pinch, some 8-bit 4K would be fantastic in this small package. This original X70 actually has a microphone input, which is something that is crazy to me for something this small, that they snuck a mic input in here. It is a 2.5 mil, so I would love to see that be a 3.5 mil, but you can't really get too picky when the camera's this small. I would honestly be okay with a 2.5 mil, and this would be such an amazing vlogging camera as well. Like, they have the opportunity to take something like the ZV line from Sony and kind of really go after it with this camera. It doesn't need to have in-body image stabilization. I would be more than happy with electronic stabilization for video in a package this small with a little bit of a crop. I think that's probably fine, and I think with 8-bit 4K, you could most likely get away with a very minimal crop in 4K, so at least I hope you could. That's my wish. This is my video. These are the things I want. You can disagree with me. Tell me down below what you think, what you would like in a little camera like this. Yeah, other than the sensor, the processor, and some better video specs, I think that's all I would want. Could you fit some ND filters in here? Maybe. I know the GR series has them, so maybe they would work in here because the GR is equivalent size to this camera. So that would be one addition that I would be totally fine with. Yeah, I love this camera, and they're getting hard to find, and they're very expensive, and they're getting quite old at this point. This is, I think, my third or fourth video about the X70. I've kind of milked it to death here, but yeah, Fujifilm, if you're listening, I've been reviewing your cameras for quite some time, since the X Pro 2, I think since 2016, so for 8 years. If you're watching these videos, and if you watch anybody else's videos that talks about the X70 and how much they love it, run some numbers, do what you have to do. I think that it's definitely worth a look because these cameras are great and people love them. And I, for one, would buy one tomorrow. And I know that's only one sale, but it's one guaranteed sale. And how often can you say that when you're launching a new product? So that's it, guys. Give me your thoughts about potential X70 successors below, what you'd like to see, if you agree with me. If you hate the X70, I don't know why you would, because it's fantastic, and I would just completely disagree with you. But that's it. All right, guys, it's been fun. Fujifilm, do it. We'll see you in the next video.